Hi, and welcome to this new OpenDevTalks session. It's still very early in the year, and of course, that's always a good time to start a new project. So we thought it might be a good idea to talk a bit more about the steps being involved when you start, plan, and execute your own connected car data project in your organization. My name is Yannick Lober, and I'm part of the business development team at High Mobility, and I'm joined by Anissa.
Hello everyone, nice to have you here today. I'm Anissa Semai, I'm Customer Success Manager at High Mobility.
Yeah, and as always, you can use the chat box in this web application to ask questions. After having presented our today's Open Dev Talk, we will come back to your questions, and you can also leave us feedback and, of course, talk about your concerns as well. So let's begin and talk about our roadmap chart, which is this one. This is our 7-step process that you can consider when creating your own project for connected car data in your organization. And this is based on our best practices and experience, having already executed numerous connected car data projects at High Mobility. While this might look like a very time-consuming effort, in reality it only takes 3 to 4 weeks, depending on your overall scope, to get some cars activated and your first steps going with the connected car data. But before we talk about the details, I really like to take a step back and recap our individual connected car data approach at High Mobility. So live vehicle data has been around already for decades, and back in the days, most of the companies have used additional hardware devices that they have put into the vehicles to extract the data out of the diagnostics port, and they have usually used the mobile data networks to transmit the data to remote backend systems. But in the meantime, OEMs have started to bring internet connectivity directly into the vehicles themselves, and that has made additional hardware purchases and installations more or less obsolete for the majority of use cases. But whenever there are new advancements in technology, there are also new challenges that need to be considered. And this is also true when talking about live vehicle data. OEMs and brands, they have usually their own data format and data structure. And that makes it very difficult for everyone that likes to consume brand independent in-vehicle data. The same situation is also true when considering OEM contracts and the legal situation, as most of the OEMs and brands have individual and quite specific ideas how data security and information security should be managed. At High Mobility, we are translating all of the brand-specific and OEM-specific data formats into one common language. This is what we call the Auto API. And we are doing and applying the same harmonization also to the contractual situation, meaning that we have only one GDPR compliant contractual framework that needs to be signed in order to consume connected car data in a brand independent way. At High Mobility, we're only focusing on providing access to live vehicle information with the help of our data APIs and our data streams. We do not offer any off-the-shelf software solutions ourselves. If you don't intend implementing an API, or if you don't have any development team available in your company, you can also review our list of partner companies. And the companies listed have already implemented the High Mobility Auto API. That means they have access to live vehicle data without any additional hardware service. And you can use those companies and services and products to have a really lightweight and simple start to use connected car data in your company. And those ranging really from different use cases like damage detection, digital logbook solutions. We even have some companies offering white label solutions for insurances. For example, if you want to utilize the pay as you drive use case or the pay how you drive use case. And of course, there are plenty of options for fleet managers and fleet operators specifically. So this was already the first step. Now you know more about high mobility and how we are operating. The second step is really to start thinking about connected car data and the exact use case. Right now, we have more than 300 data points being available in total, but usually companies only need a handful of important data points that are really required to fulfill a certain use case. And to make it easy, you can always list use cases in a table like that. So we recommend starting off with the use case title, then listing the overall purpose of the use case, and in the end, you should figure out which minimum viable data set you should utilize for this specific use case. Restricting that to the minimum data set is not only because of the fact that not every data point is made available by each OEM today, but also to match the data minimization principle required in the GDPR. And to just give an example, we have here, for example, the fuel and energy consumption tracking use case. The purpose might be, for example, to meet the corporate sustainability reporting directive in your company, like a reporting standard that needs to be fulfilled. And then we suggest using the battery level, the fuel level, estimated range, and odometer data point to achieve this use case. We have a very large table overview of all of the data points that are available. We use the Airtable service for that, and we are not only listing the data point names and the descriptions, but all brand individual availabilities and all the frequencies. And in one of the most recent OpenDevTalks, we have also highlighted and explained how you can best navigate using this Airtable and how you can utilize your data point selection on our platform. So I really recommend reviewing this OpenDevTalk that we had before. So now you know which data points are technically available and feasible to use. Then the next step will be to check if there's also a commercial fit for the product integration. And in order to evaluate the overall market potential, we always recommend performing an eligibility check. That means you can send us a list of vehicle identification numbers, the VIN list, coming from a fleet operator, for example, or from some of your customers. And we can check on a car individual basis if those vehicles are compatible with our service, meaning if the cars can and which cars can actually send the data without any additional hardware being involved. And of course, then we can also check what the expected costs might be for your data point selection, looking on one or your fleet customers in general. And by knowing about the use case, the data points, and the car volumes, you can really get a good overview about the cost and market opportunities. And this should really help building confidence and trust for the following pilot steps and integration phase in your organization. This slide really represents only an example, so there are only a few brands listed from our overall compatible list of brands. And of course, the results will also vary fleet by fleet or customer by customer. So this is just a sample of how the report could look like. Additionally, we also provide the same functionality to you. So we have an interface that is called Fleet Eligibility API or Vehicle Eligibility API. You can use that yourself to check if the car is eligible or not. But when it's still early in the project, we're always recommending forwarding the list just to us, and we can create that report on your behalf. And yeah, then we are already in the more, second phase of the project. And it's then a good time to kick off the actual integration with the development team. And we offer a online calendar for that, because the first step that we really want to do is to plan a kickoff project and a developer training, which you can always book for free. And usually this meeting is hosted by Anissa, and that's also a perfect point in time to hand it over to you, Anissa.
Thanks a lot, Yannick, and thanks all for attending today. I'm happy today to continue on these different steps and show you some tips and some steps that you can do on our platform. For that, I will go back to our website. So in order to access our platform, if you have already tested with our sandbox environment, you might know that you can go on our website, highmobility.com. And here you have the possibility to create an account if it's not already the case, or to simply sign in. So on my side, as you can see here, I'm on the platform. I'm on the build tab, which corresponds to our sandbox environment, the test environment itself. And the very first item, the very first step that I always recommend as soon as you feel ready and you want to start working in production and start connecting real vehicle. For that, I always recommend to create a team and to work on a team level. For that, you can go on the upper right part of the platform, hit select teams and create select plus. Here you have the possibility to define a name and also invite all of your colleagues of the team which will be involved in the connected car project. And so here on my side, as you can see, I'm working within the BizDevDemo team here. And if I go to the settings, you can see that all of my colleagues from High Mobility are included, so that they are all able to access the same credentials and to see the same app containers that have been created here. They are all also set as admin, so it's also important for you if you want to access the credentials or even create new credentials. You will need to have the admin rights, but in the end, you're also able here as well to invite additional members of your team. So that's one key element. If you have already access to a platform and if you are tested on your personal account, it's always recommended to create a team when you go on production. So here, if you have already tested, you're already familiar with the build environment, the sandbox environment. In the end, the app container creation is very similar. And if you want to have live credentials, and if you want to go on production, you will need to go on the live data tab. Here I have an example for you today. In order here to create a new app container, a productive app container, you will need to hit create new and select a cloud application in this case. Here I have done some example, as you can see. And for today, I wanted to show you how it would look like. So the first step always is to, and as Yannick mentioned, whenever you have seen our offering, which data are available, here on the platform, you can pretty much translate your use case and choose the permissions, data points you want for your specific use case. For that, you can go on edit permissions. Something to note here is that it's very similar to the sandbox. In production, it's important to note that the selection you do is fixed. So whenever we do activate and enable the brands for you, the selection is not possible to edit or the permissions or to change your data selection after that. So in production, and this is also why it's even more important to test in the sandbox before or to know exactly what you want. It's also, if you like, it's also even recommended to make more exhaustive selection, let's say, it's best to select more data points here than you would actually need short term. So in this case, I have a very, very nice and easy example, which includes the odometer, which is very common, and the vehicle coordinates. Here, similar to the sandbox environment, you will see the availability of these two data points selected per brand. So these are all the brands we do support today. And then whenever you are done with your data selection, you are able to save it, or something as well that you might have done on the sandbox. You can, of course, always find your app preset. So the data selection you have saved, you can always use them or find them here, so that there is no double amount of work. Whenever you are good with the data selection itself, here I would, it's like an example for typical logbook solution, which include odometer coordinates. You will find pretty much the same credentials, very similar credentials as on the sandbox environment. So you will have the new sets of credentials here that you can replace with your test integration if you have done this, or you will have the possibility here to use them. The difference from the sandbox to the production is that here the URI will not include sandbox dots. It will be directly API.highmobility. And you will have new sets of client ID and client secret to create authorization. I will not go deeper in detail in these steps today. And of course, if you are willing to stream the data and choose a push method, among which we have here MQTT or AWS Bucket, you would then need to create and have a new set of certificates, of course. It's always based on each app container. Each app container have different sets of credentials and have different certificates that can be used. So this is pretty much what you need to care about whenever you switch from sandbox to production. Something we do require additionally, and a tab which you will see appearing on production and not necessarily on the sandbox environment, is the app information. So today I've done a very brief example for you to guide you in this step. So we do require some information and for this formula to be filled accordingly. So here we do need from you a product link. It could be also a simple link on your website. It's just informative. The two information we do require, which are more important for us in general, are the terms and conditions and privacy policy. So you can put here the link to these terms that you might already have included in your website, or if you have it stored on SharePoint or Google Drive, you can, of course, here put the link to the document accordingly. For us, it's actually simply important to know that you have this existing document and policy on your site, so that we are all in compliance when it comes to GDPR. Then here you will have the app category itself. You can choose which one fits your use case the best. If there is no option that matches you can, of course, choose other. It's not a step or information we are too strict about. And then we do require some other items, which again are only informative, but still required. For that, we would need for you to upload an icon. It can be the icon of your company. You can choose this file as well below for the screenshot. We are not very strict with these two. You can also input a very brief description. So here I put test, for example. And as last, we have a field which require a YouTube link. So this is a sensitive field. For that, you can put your favorite music video, or if you really have already a presentation of your own solution, you can also input it here. Other than that, you can also alternatively choose any of our tutorials. So as you might know, we have hosted this webinar a couple of times in the past, and we have many videos that you can also take here as an example, at least to have the field in this case. Whenever you are done, you can save all the changes, And the mention that you should be able to see above here is that your app container is ready to get submitted. So you have the possibility now to click on this button, Submit for Review, in order to send us and submit your app container. And on our side, we will be able to review not only the information here, but also to see what you have selected as data points, and we will be able to then enable the brands for you. So which packages, for example, for BMW, Mercedes you wish to have, and all the data points you wish to have per brand. So whenever we do activate and enable a brand, you will see here, and as you can see here, the status is still pending activation in this case. And as soon as we do enable one brand for you, like let's say BMW Mini, BMW Fleet, for example, you will see here the mention live. And that means that you can use this brand in production in the Fleet Clearance API as a parameter. And also, like Yannick mentioned, you can use this brand for the eligibility API we do provide in production. So that's very shortly about the steps that you can do and that needs to be done in production for you to get started. As Yannick mentioned, I'm always happy as well to kick off your project and guide you again through the whole steps that you would need to work with our API. For all the more technical steps and the usage of our API, I recommend you to refer to our previous OpenDev talk, where we introduced our new vehicle data API and where we show how our API can be used using Postman.